Hi, this is Larry Shaheen from the Macintosh Law Firm. We wanted to make sure that you as business owners got the most up-to-date information on your PPP loans as it comes out, and we felt that this information was important enough to make sure that we got to you immediately. We've got a blog article out there for you, but we also wanted to make sure that if you could listen to it in about a 5 or 6 minute video to make sure that you were able to process and get that information in and augment whatever you were doing on your spending to make sure that you were taking full advantage of the PPP process. Just a reminder, these loans, most folks are concerned about the way that they've been structured. Don't be. The way that these loans were structured was designed to keep your employees on payroll whether you are open or not. And the goal was to make sure that the unemployment system did not have significant stress. Some states have already seen the reserves in their unemployment run out. North Carolina has not. But if someone is able to take funds to be able to make it through this time, through the PPP process, it allows another individual, for someone who did not have that opportunity, to be able to take unemployment. So don't feel guilty about it. There's been a lot of uncertainty about it, and unfortunately some of the media outlets have been a little bit unflattering, but the program is working, and it is actually something that has been able to keep businesses afloat and keep them operating in times where we're not exactly sure what the next move is going to look like. One of the things that is important, though, is the forgiveness guidance. There has not been forgiveness guidance issued, but yesterday and the day before there were 2 articles, one in the Wall Street Journal and one in the Business Journal, talking about forgiveness and how Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has specifically stated that he is going to be changing some of the specific provisions. So we wanted to make sure that you got the 5 most important things for you to make sure that your businesses are going to be able to move nimbly and quickly to make sure to take advantage of this. The first part, forgiveness is crucial. You've got to make sure that you are adequately setting up your business to be able to get as much of the spend as possible forgiven. What that means is that you've got 4 basic areas. You've got payroll, you've got rent, you've got utilities, and you've got interest on notes that were made before February 15th. So the rent itself is also important. If you are a business owner and your business rents from yourself, you are still able to, as long as it's a separate company, be able to pay rent to yourself, but you have to have had a fully executed lease before February 15th. So if that paperwork was not done, you will not be able to take that money and use it towards rent. If you have any questions, give us a call. This is something that you've got to do. One of the things that we have been told and are telling other people is to make sure that you are structuring your spend for forgiveness. If you're not, give us a call. Secondly, as far as the uncertainty provision just yesterday, this is the most important thing you'll hear on this entire call. We've had a lot of folks do some scaremongering around whether or not Treasury is going to have specific tests for individuals as to whether or not they needed the loan. What Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and the SBA did by issuing frequently asked question number 46, which was released on May 13th, it gave a safe harbor for all businesses that took less than $2 million in loans from PPP. They have stated that that uncertainty will be in good faith because there is no capital market out there to fund short-term operations of businesses in the amount necessary to be able to get those loans out. This is what the loan was supposed to do, so they've gone ahead and given you guys some guidance. For those of you with loans over $2 million, you will be audited by the Federal Reserve, you will be audited by Treasury, and there will be a longer process for you. That's something where you are absolutely going to want to have your accountants and your attorneys making sure that they're looking at that loan. The safe harbor expires here shortly for you to be able to give that back, so you're going to want to make sure that you take action very quickly. Third, the person who is going to be determining your forgiveness is not the SBA at the initial outset. It's going to be the bank. So what that means is that you want to stay in constant communication with your lender and run as much by them as possible so that they see what you're doing. One of the most interesting things out there that we've noticed is the calculation of $100,000 payroll. How is that calculated? You'll find that that number is actually less if you use it on a weekly basis per month. If you use it monthly, it's actually more. So the question, because of the way that they certified payroll, it's going to be one of those interesting questions. The answer we've been getting from banks is, we don't know. That's good though, because that means that they'll be able to allow you to either make those changes necessary, or they'll give you guidance that'll stick, and then that way you'll be able to use what the bank says, and then they'll go on your behalf to the SBA. Remember, 2-step process. Bank grants forgiveness, then the SBA. If you don't make sure that you're on good terms with your bank, you're going to have a problem with the SBA. 4, document everything. You have got to make sure that everything you're doing is able to be verified and backed up. Here is what we've suggested as a best practice. You want to make sure that you have a single purpose account for which the funds to go into, so that those funds from the PPP loan are not commingled with General Reserve or other funds. You want to make sure that those funds are able to be tracked. So What you do is, say you run bi-monthly payroll. If you run a payroll that month, you want to make sure that you're taking that payroll and you're attaching it to a transfer notice from that bank from one account to the other that shows the exact same amount as the payroll being transferred into the account that the payroll money is debited from. The way we advise you to treat this, coming from a development real estate background, think of this as a draw on a construction loan. Most of the time with banks, when you're doing draws on construction loans, you have to show invoices and estimates for what it is you're going to be spending. If you keep track of all of your invoices and all of your draws, you'll be able to back up and verify every bit of spending that you have, so that when the bank takes a look at it, if you have it in one package, it'll make it easier for them to verify forgiveness, which then makes it easier to get to the SBA to verify forgiveness, which then makes this a lot easier for everybody involved. So don't be willy-nilly with this. Do not spend this money in different ways. Make sure that you're doing everything you can to document your spend, document your process, make sure that you've got spreadsheets that show over the last year's payroll how you made a decision whether to reduce payroll, because remember, you can still reduce an individual's payroll 25% and still have the entirety of the loan forgiven. That has not changed. The 75% on payroll spend, the 25% on other items spent, that is likely to change. But for now, since that is the guidance, you want to stay within that role. And then lastly and most importantly, don't go alone. Don't try this by yourself. This is a brand new process. They stood it up in 6 weeks. It's unprecedented in how much money has flown through the banks to individual businesses. These are essentially, in our opinion, and this is the way I view it. A lot of folks like to say, oh, this is federal money. Well, yes, it is. But for someone who handles condemnation, this looks an awful lot like eminent domain. And one of the things that we've been telling folks is this money is there and it's designed to augment your business to weather through this process when the government has essentially told businesses to shut down and individuals to stop consuming. So because of that, the way we have viewed these is that this is there to augment your operations and make sure that your operations are continuing, and to make sure that individuals receive payroll and that they don't have to go on unemployment. So because of the complexity, reach out to someone. A lot of folks are more than willing to make sure that they'll defer bills, that they'll reduce bills, that they'll make sure that you as a business gets the necessary information that you need so that you're going to be able to continue your operations. We're all in this together. This is a situation where we all have to pull in the same direction. We want to see the economy get back. We have to have this program work, and that means that we're going to need to do it as a team. So we here at the McIntosh Law Firm are more than happy to provide you with team members who are very knowledgeable in these issues and who are very knowledgeable in a number of other issues, including landlord relations, business purchases, business sales, working out relief with the banks. Make sure that you talk to people who are knowledgeable, and don't call your cousin, don't call your dad, don't do that. Please make sure that you are talking with knowledgeable individuals who know what they're doing. Around the origination of the PPP loan, the banks should be paying the agents that help you get the loan. The forgiveness aspect is something that you will have to pay for, but there are ways that you can do that and make sure that you're making sure to hold on to as much cash as possible. That's it. Wanted to keep it as short, as brief as we could. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you again soon.